Good afternoon. This is Betty Shan again. We've got us a real nice warm day here in Carlsbad, New Mexico. The temperature right now is 102, but it's been up to 105 today. And me and Connor went to the grocery store and come back, and it was so hot. I told him, I said, it just seems like we need water bad. I don't want nothing to drink. I just want water. And I went in today to a framing shop, and I talked with a young lady in there, and before we left, she said, them clouds drifting in, we need to pray for rain. And I said, I amend on that. I said, we do need rain in Carlsbad, New Mexico, because it gets so dry here. And before I get into telling you a story or anything, I want to be sure and thank Lois for mentioning my name on her video today. And I want to encourage you, if you've never listened to Lois, you get on there and you listen to her. She says some good things and things that you will enjoy. And she's a grandma too, but she's 90 years old. And I think she's got more energy and pep than what I've got. So anyway, you just enjoy your videos, and I hope I can say something today that will make you feel better, give you a better day, or at least give you something to think about. But I want to mention the fact that we got out one time and went driving around during this time of the year, and it was so dry that a lot of the creeks and things that run in the mountains and the foothills around here had dried up, and there was no water for the animals. And I'll never forget seeing deer laying beside the road because they didn't have any water. So this time of year, nearly every year, I go to praying, God, please give us some rain, because I remember God's little animals laying beside the creeks and things that had died because they had no water to drink. And of course, when there wasn't no rain and no water, the feed is short supply out there because they eat God's nature, and it wasn't able to grow because there was no water for it. So just if you get a chance and you pray, remember Carlsbad and ask God to help us get some rain. We need some rain bad. Well, I got to thinking about God little creatures. I'll never forget, we worked on our house one time several years ago. We remodeled, and some of our sidewalks in the front was real bumpy, and the rocks had started coming through because the cement had went away. It just is old. It was old out there. So my husband told me, said, well, since we're going to put in a drive, we'll go ahead and redo the sidewalks out there. So that made me happy, because them walking on them rocks wasn't no fun, and people walking down the street, I was afraid one of them would trip on a rock or something that was sticking up. So he tore all of the cement out in the front so we could pour new sidewalks. And when he did, he found some things that I thought at first they were just big worms. But he told me, he said, Beth, those are snakes. I don't know what kind of snake they were. All I know, they were a little bit bigger than a worm, but they were snakes. And of course, my girls, when they seen them, they wanted them. So, me not being too bright sometimes, I went and got a mason jar, and we poked holes in this mason lid. And we put the little snakes in there, and we thought, well, we'd let them play with them or let them watch them a day or two, and then we'd take them up the foothills and let them loose and let them go. Well, they brought the jar in, they carried the jar around and showed everybody what we'd found up under the cement. And there was two of them. And they just showed them to everybody. And of course, different ones enjoyed it and tried to figure out what kind of snake they were and all of that. But they brought it, at that night, they brought them in the house and they stuck them in their closet. They was going to keep it in the closet where it was cool. And the next morning we got up, and guess what? Them little old snakes, I had poked holes with a nail in the lid so that they could get air in there, and they had got out of the jar. I had two little snakes running loose in my house. I had no idea what kind they were. I didn't know if they was poisonous or what, But I know they made themselves thin enough they could get out them nail holes that I stuck in that jar. And I want to let you know I hunted and hunted. I couldn't. I finally found one of them in the closet, but the other one had disappeared and I couldn't find it. So every time I'd get out walking around or anything, I'd make sure I watched where I stepped. And I'd warn everybody that come in, we have a snake loose in the house. And I went into the hallway there in the other part of the house, and I stepped down, and that little old snake was there by my foot. I was barefooted. And you talk about doing a dance. Somebody said, you really done an Indian dance that day. I hooped and I hollered and carried on. And of course, the kids come a running, Mama, what's the matter? What's the matter? And of course, I hollered for them to step back. I didn't want the snake getting on them. But that brought us to life that day. We were just kind of sitting around and being lazy like, but I'm telling you what, they seen their mama do a jig that they'd never seen before. I was scared to death. That snake could have been poisonous, and I didn't want it hurting me or the children. But you know, it was a good time. It's another one of them memories that happens, and you never forget them. But they could go tell how I done an Indian dance and hollered. But anyway, you have a good day. Keep your chin up and live for the Lord.